Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope you had a safe weekend. A lot of crazy stuff going on out here in Los Angeles and the United States in general between the protesting, coronavirus. Just a very interesting time. And I'm going to give you your final project for the year. So you're going to have this week and Wednesday to turn this in. And it's to do a dynamic composition inspired by Thomas Hart Benton, and that's a loose interpretation. I just want to give you some inspiration to kind of go off of, because Thomas Hart Benton, he was a painter in the 50s. This is a painting he did in 1951, depicting a devastating flood in Kansas and Missouri. A natural disaster over there, which he turned into this painting that really shows kind of the emotions and actually things that were happening. You got the family here. I mean, look at their postures. Just this tells such a story. Um, and so I told you he's an American painter known for his very fluid, sculpted figures in his paintings that showed everyday people and scenes of life in the United States. So for this assignment, I want you to show your scene of the United States. And that could be, it doesn't have to be people. You could do scenes like he does with people. It can be with objects or just things you think about with the United States right now. But I want it to be a dynamic composition where you're having multiple areas. See how he breaks the page up with these borders that he paints in? So even without the borders, you have this big area here, this other area here, this area going on in the background. So there's different sizes, and they don't necessarily, you would never be able to see that in reality, all these things happening at once. But it comes together into a very dynamic piece. So you can, I want you to play with that of just kind of having different areas have different sizes. Here's a much more dramatic example of that, where she's really breaking the piece up into different areas. I mean, you're in 5 different places at once here, at least. You're on a street scene here. You have people sitting on a train over here, a boxing match over here, dancers over here, someone giving a speech, politician, people kissing at the park. So many of those snapshots of American life right there. And so what I want you to think about is what's going on right now in our culture, in our society, in current events, in history, anything you want. It just has to relate to the United States, and I want you to make a dynamic composition. Now, maybe I'll do a little example for you guys. I'm going to use some of these images I have here. It's a good idea to go and grab some images. Look, I just grabbed, 5 different images. I could pull these together into a composition, just put them in different places. I mean, even where they're sitting right now on the page, if I were to draw that, that would look great. But, maybe I can move it around, make some areas bigger, make some smaller. So let me see what I can do. All right, so I'm coming up with my dynamic composition. First thing I might want to do is just brainstorm a little bit. We looked at some of those Thomas Hart Bentons, and it looked like he just broke his page up. I'm just drawing like a little mini version of my page here so I can brainstorm some ideas of what I might do. So, Thomas Hart Benton, you saw he put in lines. Sometimes he'd break the page up into a couple things like that. And then fill this page up from there, So maybe I'll just kind of break my page up into a couple pieces. My subject matter, some of those images I saw protesters wearing masks. So, maybe I fill this area up with some of those protesters. I'd probably look at some of the images to come up with some ideas. Maybe I'll do kind of a cityscape up here in this area. And then over here, I could add that flag I saw. This is just a rough sketch. So I'd have some stars. and my stripes kind of going into this area. So what you're doing is you're kind of figuring out a dynamic composition where things are kind of moving together. So that was one test run. Let me try another one out. Maybe this one I'll break the page up into 3. I like the 3 section. I could do 4 maybe. And it doesn't have to be perfectly lined up. You know, sometimes, you know, the actual things you draw become those borders. Like maybe I have a cityscape here. So this is my city. And then over back here is the American flag. And the protesters are kind of waving their hands over here, you know, holding up signs. That's another idea. So I'm brainstorming over here. I'm coming up with ideas. I kind of like that one. Maybe I'll go with that. But how can I? What am I gonna? I could change it up a little bit. I like the overall kind of protesters here. Someone, and they're kind of going down like that too. I kind of like that. How they're kind of at an angle, and then this one's over here holding up the sign. And this one's over here, and the city is behind them over here. And then maybe I'll make the flag the whole background over here. Or add something else over here. Maybe there's some fire over here burning. So it's really, you know, I came up with a little brainstorming there. So now I kind of got an idea of what I want to do. And I'm just making this up as I go, guys. I'm just want to kind of get that brainstorming process out there, show you how you can make some dynamic composition. And what I mean by dynamic, you know, looking at those Thomas Hart Benton pieces, and we just have a lot of different things going on, different angles, different sizes, perspectives. And you're just having fun loosely kind of putting stuff in. So here I'm going to map in my composition. I had the one person here. And, you know, again, you could be using source images, looking on the internet and trying to find things and piece them together like a puzzle into one piece. Got the sign here. I got another protester over here, maybe kind of looking back at these two. I'll go into details later. Then I got my cityscape. This would be a good time to pop online, maybe choose a city. Maybe I pick LA, you know, the city I'm from, and kind of get, just find a picture of the LA skyline. That would give me a better idea of some buildings I could put in there. Anyway, maybe I put those a little too high. I'll leave it. Oops, sorry about that. I like that one. I'll leave that one in. You get the idea there, guys. I'm just trying to give you a guide. I don't want you to do what I'm doing exactly. You know, do your own thing. And then I could have the flag kind of coming from behind that. I could even have it waving in here. Maybe the flag kind of becomes tattered and is over here, and I got the stars over here. I would take my time and draw those in nicely. So the flag's behind the city, but then kind of waves into the scene over here. And then maybe I do still kind of have behind the flag, it looks like there's some fire kind of going on over here. So that's a cool dynamic composition I just came up with real quick. Kind of brainstorm some ideas. You know, now that I'm looking at it, you know, I should have taken my time on this a little bit more, but it gives you the idea. Kind of come up with an idea, transfer it onto here, and that'll be your final piece for this class. All right. Okay, so I just gave a little demo on how to brainstorm. We've done that before this semester where we draw some little thumbnail drawings, come up with a composition, and then execute it on a larger piece of paper. So come up with your idea. You can do like I did here, where I picked 5 images and just kind of pieced them together. I didn't use all of them. I only used about 3 things. I used a cityscape, so I didn't even include the homeless encampment there. I just put some buildings. I put a flag and some protesters. So I went with that. You can use these images if you want, or look around, find your own, find things that tell your story of the United States and its culture, society, current events, history, any of those things. Just have it relate to what's going on in the United States, in your mind, your world, what you see. All right. Um, so again, here's another Thomas Hart Benton just to show breaking up the page into these dynamic waves. He spent a lot of time doing a composition this detailed and dynamic. But it's a good inspiration. It's good to see this very high level work to kind of get inspired for how you're going to do it. But figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to relate to society and culture in the United States. There's so much going on right now. There's so much you could draw or paint about. So just create a piece of art, any size, any medium, that is a dynamic composition that relates to the United States and what's going on. All right, guys. This is our final project, so have it all turned in by a week from Wednesday. You guys have been amazing, and I'll be checking on you before the end of the year. But yeah, enjoy this last project. Can't wait to see what you guys do.